Good day. In this video, we're gonna do if-else statements. So in order for you to understand the if-else statements, you have to understand the operators chapter. So that video I created to make you understand what operators are. So in order for you to understand if statements, I'll advise you to grasp at least have a basic in operators. When you have that basic, it will be easy for you to understand if else, the for loops, the upcoming videos. It will be easy to understand. So in this case, let's do the if else statements. So what the if does, it checks whether a condition is true or false. If that condition is true, then a block of code will be executed. If that condition is false, then that block of code will be ignored. It will go to our else statement. So our else statement, what it does, it returns the block of code or the values or whatever computation that is under. It will return that if the condition was not met from our if statement. So let's go and do an example. So let's say we have a condition. A condition says today. Let's say today it is hot. Then what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to check whether this condition is true or false. So I'm going to use an if statement. I'm going to say if today is hot, then I have to return print yes, it is hot in this case. Then an else statement will be returned if this block of code or this block of code, it is not returned. So it will go to our else. So we say else, we say print. In this case, we say no, it is cold. So let's run this program and see how it behaves. So in this case, you're getting, yes, it is hot. What it did here, it compared, this is a comparison operator. It compares these two values. So today, in this case, we were given that it is hot. So here it will compare this as being hot, it is equals to hot. Then it will execute or it will return this block of code. Let's say here we put a big H. You know that Python is case sensitive. So in this case, it will return code. Why? Because this and this is both they are hot, but the string values are not the same. This value, it has a big H. This one, it has a small h. So take care of that when you do the if-else statement. Sometimes you will do minor mistakes, then think that the program doesn't run. But sometimes Python, it checks, not only Python, most programming language, the case sensitivity is important. So in this case, it will return code. It will return code because the values are not the same. So let's do an example with numbers. So let's say we are given that x is equals to 3. Then again, we are given that y is equals to 4. In this part, I'm going to show you how the logical operators, it is our AND, it is our OR, it is our NOT. So I'm going to show you how we link them. with our comparison operators when we're using if statements. So in this case, let's say we say if, let me put the third variable. Let's say z, it is equals to 5. So in this case, I'm going to say if x, it is less than y and z is greater than y. So before computing this, let's try to analyze the problem. So here I'm saying x, it is less than y. Is it true here? Yes. 3, it is less than 4. Then let's analyze this one. Z is greater than y. Yes, great. Yes, z is greater than y. So this is true and this is true. Then we know the definition of a true of an AND operator. So what it says that it will return true if both of the statements are true. So in this case, this block of code will execute. So we will say print, then we can put this condition here to make things simple. This print, this x is less than y and z is greater than y. Else, if the condition it is not true, we can say else. Can just put any statement here. I can say false. We can say false. This can't happen. So if this can't happen, it will go to our else statement. In this case, we write false here, or you can write anything you want to symbolize that no, this condition, the if condition was not met. So if it was not met, it will go to our else statement. So let's try to print this, to run this. So we will receive this statement. So let's use an OR operator. For an OR operator, what it does, it will check if this is true, if at least one of the statements are true. This statement here is true, and this statement here, it is true. So it will return a true. So let's try to say less than. So if you say 5 is less than 4, that's not true. So in this case, this is false, this is true. So if this is true, this is false. You know the OR definition. It says that it will return a true if at least one of the statements is true. So in this case, this will be true. And in this case, if it's true, then the block of code will execute. So let's run this program. So instead of writing AND, we say OR there. So let's run this program and see what we're getting. So this is true, we're getting that. But if they are both false, let's say I say greater than here, I'm returning a false. Oh, I didn't print here. I have to print here. I'm returning a false value. So it will say false. This is false. This is false. So we are returning a false. Then let's check the NOT operator. So in this case, I can put a NOT there. So remember that, okay, let me say x, it is less than. Let's make it a true so that we are on the same page. So here, when we say x is less than y, x is less than y, this is true. Then when we say z is less than y, this is false. Let's leave it like that. But here we have a NOT operator. This is a logical operator. So in this case, it will reverse, it will negate this content within the brackets. So in this case, let's check. This is true. X is less than y. This is true. Then z is less than y. This is false. But the content within this bracket, it is true. Remember the OR definition. This is true. In this case, when I say not true, I'm receiving a not true. A not true is false. So this whole if statement now is false. So this won't execute. So let's try to run this. It will execute false. So this is vital if you understand the logical operators and the arithmetic operators or the comparison operators. Yeah, the comparison operators, the logical operators, and the arithmetic operators. Yeah, they also play a role, but mostly it is your logical and your comparison operators. So this is how if else statement work in Python. So let's look at the nested if. The nested if, it's an if within another if. So let's see how it works. So let's say we have an if, then there's a condition there. There's a condition we are trying to test. Then we say if again, there's a condition. So this is a nested if. So let's see an example. Let's say x, it is equals to 2, and say y, it is equals to 10, and say z, it is equals to 13. So here, let's use a nested if to find the greatest number here. So we can say if y, it is greater than x, then this should execute. Then we say if z is greater than y, then we should print z is the greatest. Let's put a string there and say z is the greatest. So this is a nested if. So if this is not true, we can say else. We can print saying z is not the greatest. So let's run this program and see what we are getting. Z is the greatest. This is a simple algorithm that I've written here. So you can update this algorithm to check for, this was checking for Z. So you can check for Y, you can check for X. So for the purpose of explaining a nested if, I will be brief. I won't be too long. So in this case, this is how the nested if work in Python. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support, and please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. See you next time.